when people think about income funds or ETFs, they don't really think about high dividend payers, but this is a different way. This, where you get where you get the income from on these products is you get it from the options income. You also get the dividend income, and you also get some of the capital gains. So they tend to try and target a distribution rate that will take all those three returns into account to pay those dividends. So sounds complicated, but it's actually fairly simple.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. Joining me as HANetf co-CEO, Hector McNeil. Hector, very good to talk to you. We're speaking about two new exchange-traded products you've launched in partnership with YieldMax. Both generate income for investors using call strategies. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, it's a bit of a phenomenon in the US currently, Stephen, and YieldMax are right at the forefront of that. They're a $13 billion asset manager, relatively new, probably 2 to 3 years old. And basically what they're doing is, since the advent of daily options trading in the US, they're using an active option strategy to generate income from selling calls. And the two products we've got, one is a clone of a very successful US one, which has got $5 billion plus. It's seen as a bit of behemoth in the ETF industry. Same ticker in the US, MSTY. In the US, it's got a 90% distribution rate. So what that means is each month it will pay out a portion of an annual rate of 90%, of which, is obviously very high. And it's sort of leaning into that world of the income hunters, I call them, the guys who are looking for ways to generate more and more passive income. And it really goes all down the scale. I mean, I don't think we've had so much interest for an ETF ever on launching this. We only launched it middle of last week. And we must have had over 250 investor inquiries, and normally if we get 250 investors inquiries over the life of the ETF, we've done pretty well. We also did a YMAG, which is basically a basket of tech stocks, around about 30 tech stocks, and doing the same thing. They're not quite as volatile because it's diversified the basket as MicroStrategy, which is what MSTY is holding and writing the calls on. So that's got about a 24% distribution rate. So obviously the two differences of the products, you've got one that's a basket of tech stocks, and you've got one that's a quite a volatile product. And you're probably well aware that MicroStrategy's pure business is to what they call run a treasury Bitcoin business. So they basically borrow in the markets and then go and buy Bitcoin. So you're getting a leverage play already with MicroStrategy in Bitcoin, and then you're getting the covered calls off the back of that. Because of volatility of the stock, it generates significant income. So these things, I mean, there's hundreds of these in the US now. They've got an avid following. These are the first sort of wave of these products coming to Europe. We're expecting to have a big wave of these ourselves. So it's really exciting times. It's really interesting.
And do you think you have a bit of a first mover advantage then by launching them now?
Yeah, I hope so. Certainly for those particular ones, we're first. I mean, there are some other people out there doing covered call products, but I think these are probably a lot more retail friendly than what's being done currently. So and obviously carrying such a massive brand of YieldMax, I think is further testimony to the Han platform. And we've got 25 issuers on the Han platform now. And just for context, there's only 125 brands in the ETF space in Europe. So we've got 20% of all the brands in the ETF space in Europe, which is a pretty decent market share, not by number of products or assets under management, but certainly by number of brands. And YieldMax is a massive leader out there, but we'll probably have a bunch of other similar providers coming, with differentiated products as time moves on. So yeah, we're very excited about it. So hopefully, you're exactly right. Hopefully, it's also a big education thing as well, Stephen. Because obviously these are new. They're doing something pretty different. When people think about income funds or ETFs, they don't really think about high dividend payers. But this is a different way. This, where you get where you get the income from on these products is you get it from the options income. You also get the dividend income, and you also get some of the capital gains. So they tend to try and target a distribution rate that will take all those three returns into account to pay those dividends. So sounds complicated, but it's actually fairly simple. But I think over time, investors will get to know. If anybody's got any questions on them, always feel free to drop an email to info@hanetf.com, and we'll always answer the questions for sure.
Hector, you said you'd had lots of inquiries about these exchange-traded products. What sorts of investors are they appealing to?
Well, I'd say the majority of outreach we've had so far has been retail, and as I say, a lot of them are already well aware of the YieldMax brand, and also the are very very aware of the MSTY or MSTY as they call it ETF in the US. You know, obviously at $5 billion, it's a massive success story. So they're all really excited to get access to that. So if anybody wants to follow me on Twitter, Hector MCN, you'll see the flurry of activity and questions that are coming, you know, left, right, and center. You know, is it set up on 212 trading yet, or how do his lands down, or scalable capital? We even had one guy sending an email saying he had to renew his passport on expedited levels to be able to set up a brand new brokerage account to be able to be ready to buy the product on day one. And I've never had anything like that in the 700 plus ETFs I've done in my career to date. So so it's really quite exciting, really.
Well, it sounds like it, Hector. I hope you'll keep us posted on progress with those new products. Thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Always a pleasure.
That's Hector McNeil, the co-CEO of HANetf.